And where here I am expecting an applause from the audience. I am certain throughout the day you will get multiple opportunities to take pictures, shoot content. Well, if you are planning on posting any pictures, any content, any comments related to
living in an AI world.
I can still go on, but I doubt the next. Mike.
Where market paying back to 10% more to 20% in market tools, in making sure that those measure what is spent and you make sure that what is spent is sufficient. Marketing technologies really unique as they are. We haven't studied in India and marketing technology at about 30%, but we're likely to become between 25 to 30% over the next couple of months. Over the next few years, it will even reach 30 to 35%. The marketing technology knowledge that leader who are every after marketing technology has the usage of marketing technology to working with ecosystem providers and providers.
Yes.
We believe that we have and that we market so clearly so we understand that this market is very, very important. Today, we see market here as well. So everyone now talking just now, I will also watch it careers digitally and will join the awards in the year. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Batra, for those words. MarTech is the need of the hour. About 6 months ago, we started something called MarTech AI.com. In this year, we have had 3 large MarTech conferences in India, and perhaps this one is the last conference for the year. About 20 years ago, 25 years ago, MarTech was driven by consumer psychology. Marketers were driven by consumer psychology. Then came an era where data led its importance. Consumer psychology was amalgamated with data. And today we live in unprecedented times. There's consumer psychology, there's data, and then there's intelligence. And now we are moving forward to a time where marketers don't even have to take decisions. We are moving in an agentic AI era, where a marketer's AI agent or a company's AI agent is looking at all the data which is coming in, all the consumer psychology and insights that are coming in, and taking decisions, even budgetary, on behalf of marketers. I'm moving a step ahead. You all will have an agentic AI in some time. If you go to your chat GPTs and LLM models, you'll find there's a small icon called agentic AI. It will take decisions on your behalf. For example, you use a tur dal per month, let's say 10 kgs of tur dal or 5 kgs of tur dal, and you have an AI agent which is tracking that. So as the month gets over, that agent is tracking the amount of tur dal in your home because you are of course giving it inputs. And it will automatically go to a website and order that tur dal for you. So we are going into a time where AI agents will start speaking to AI agents. Consumers won't speak to marketers. Marketers won't speak to consumers. We'll be AI agents to AI agents. I was having a discussion with Mr. Rajesh Jain of Netcore. And he said that we'll probably go into a time of double AI agents, where AI agents will interact with each other. Unprecedented times. And hence, marketing technology, the intersection of marketing, technology, and intelligence becomes very important. Now, I have seen in events that there are sessions where the audience starts getting bored out, certain jargons are not, let's say, understandable, and people start going out. But let me tell you something. An experiment. A lot of you have your hands on the table, right? As soon as I said that, your conscious mind went to the fact that your hand is on the table. But it was there as always, right? At each moment, our mind takes in 15 different senses. However, our conscious mind is the only mind which is taking it directly. So even if you are bored, even if you don't want to listen, keep sitting, because each conversation that is happening today will go into subconscious mind. And tomorrow, when the time comes, perhaps when you are in an interview with an HR, perhaps when you are in a discussion with a senior marketer, that information in your conscious mind, which you gather there, will come out to your conscious mind and you'll be able to use it. This is something which I learned during my Vipassana course. So all information that is going through you is important. So keep sitting here, only when it is urgent. If you want to go to the washroom, you don't have to raise your hand, you can go to the washroom. But at other times, keep sitting, keep taking in the information, even if you're not understanding it, because MarTech can be very technical, and I'm sure there will be very technical discussions today. But it will help you, because 2 years from now, everybody will be talking about this. So again, a round of applause for all those. Thank you for coming, and over to Saibir, you are doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nahar. Thank you. Had this been a social event, then I'd be shouting at the top of my lungs, requesting everyone to be in the best of your spirits. But since we have a long day ahead of us, how about I request everyone to kindly take a quick break from scrolling the reels on the social media platforms and be present in the moment for just this instance. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we are headed towards the first keynote address for the day, the AI-powered marketer, building intelligent, always-on brand engines. Joining us on stage is a personality who has been driving one of India's largest banks into the digital future. In fact, he was recognized by Forbes as one of the world's most influential CMOs, the only Indian CMO on that global list. Under his leadership, HDFC Bank's marketing has become a benchmark for data-driven strategy and innovation. We are fortunate to have him share how AI is transforming marketing into an always-on engine. Brand growth. Joining me as I welcome the Group Head and Chief Marketing Officer at HDFC Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Ravi Santanam.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's AI and this is real. The photograph doesn't do justice. Okay, good morning. Welcome to Delhi. And if this is the reception, I will never come to Delhi again. Good morning. That's better. That's better. The whole morning, you should be having a lot more energy. And one of the things to do is to just move your body, shout, scream, clap. It'll bring a lot of energy. So let's keep it energetic. And the topic is building intelligent, always-on brand engines for growth. And I'll use some examples at HDFC Bank of what we have done. And before I dive into this, I just want to explain a little bit about what is this brand engine that we talk about. So first, a simple definition so that we are all on the same page. And I have defined brand simply like this. A brand is a collection of association in the minds of the consumers. It's not about 1, 2, 3 campaigns that you do, one TV film that you do. It is all about a collection of association in the minds of the consumers, and it gets done over a long period of time. And today, when you talk about airline industry, many of us had trouble coming into Delhi. It's all about what is the experience that you do. It is not about that one campaign experience. It's about the ticketing experience. It's about the travel to the airport. It's about at the gate when they check you in. It is about the security experience. How much of it you can control as an airline company? You control only when you actually sit in the plane. But you have so much of variability. But that is how it is associated in the minds of the consumer. So they need to very, very clear about what is it that we are talking about as a consumer experience when it comes to your brand. And what's an engine? Very simple. It's an engine is nothing but which allows you to move from one place to another place. And it has to be refueled again and again. No engine, there is no perpetual motion machine, as many of you engineers would know. You need to refuel it. And what is the refuel that you do? It is nothing but the actions and the experiences that you create for your consumers, which allows the consumers to choose you or somebody else. So there are multiple people in any industry that you talk about. If this is the thing, what has changed? Compared to, say, for example, when I started my career, and I see a lot of college kids here, when I started my career, it was the age of mass media. Meaning there was a one-to-many conversation that was happening, and this is the way everybody did marketing. You have to go ahead and talk about your foundational fundamental values and create your own identity in the minds of the consumers. And predominantly it was mass media campaigns, which are the ones which are driving it. Today it's the age of digital and social media. And here, what you see is it is about our focus on customer interaction, which happens across multiple touch points. The experience will be very, very different. I saw a recent ad again looking at the airline industry, of one airline saying, our airline is the family in your sky, in the sky, your family in the sky. Now, remember, 20 years back, if you had a bad experience with an airline, who would you tell and how do you tell? Invariably, the one thing that you will do is will tell your known friends and family. Today, how many of you people see tweets coming out about Air India? The flight is not good. And that is from all celebrities and all those stuff. Suddenly, the way you look at managing these kind of experiences, where anybody can go ahead and put in the word what they think about the brand, defines how you actually create. So, this is happening. What's more important now is what is a brand engine is now a brand experience engine that we need to look at. No more it is about brand, it is about the brand experience. You are not a brand custodian, you are a brand experience custodian. You have to add to that storytelling of what we do. To that storytelling, how are you going to leverage tech to come and solve people's problem? If you look at our own industry, the banking industry that I come from, the customer journey is digital. There might be a consumer who will go to Google and search and have a banking product. Then they will come to a platform with ours. Then they will come to know a little bit more about it. They might call the call center, they might visit the branch, they might come back to digitally and continue the conversation. It is omnichannel, it is digital for us as a bank. So in this kind of a digital journey, what is needed? What is needed is the ability to understand the context and the continuity of conversations. You need a lot of memory. What happened previously? How do we actually keep that in the minds of what our employees can do and then and connect everything? It has to be personalized. It can't be just like I will have the same statement to say, for example, I see Ishani, my ex-colleague sitting here, and I should not be having the same conversation with somebody else with that. Because they are all different people, the contexts are different. We should have the memory created. If we do this, then we will have loyalty and customer satisfaction. Now, the question is, how do we get there? Everybody says this has to be done. So, how do we get there? I like this cartoon. Everybody talks about AI, even MarTech.ai.com, that's what they said. So if you think AI is the only tool that you have, all your problem looks like maze. Is AI the only tool that we are going to use to solve all your marketing problems? And today, this is the buzzword, and maybe Gen AI is the new buzzword. And we see we talk about everybody, we see it being talked about me, and we need to use it also. So the way we need to look at it, and this is a core belief at HDFC Bank, human stupidity cannot be overcome by artificial intelligence. So it's very, very important to appreciate this. We strongly believe this is not going to replace human stupidity. There has to be a huge work that we all do as individuals, as human beings, to understand consumer, the context, and what is the problem that we're trying to solve. And then maybe as a added layer to help you reach the consumer better, faster, and other stuff. And this is the human stupidity. If you put it into function, this is what we get. And another very interesting which I learned yesterday, one agent was being taught to help consumers and interact consumers. What even we were saying, like two agents will talk to consumer. But somebody has placed an order, so the consumers obviously will wait for the order to be delivered. So order, enjoy your meal is what the waiter says. The other agent says, yes, you also enjoy the meal. How is it even possible? How can you tell a waiter that you enjoy the meal? So you have to understand how, if you are stupid and you put it into an AI system, you will stupidity multiply the enormous numbers. So how do you go about doing this? So what we started is start and define a real business problem that you want to solve. Before doing anything else about AI, start looking at what is it that the business problem that we can solve, and also keep in mind whether you have the railroads that you have built to solve these business problems. If you do not have these railroads, you can't solve the business problems. So look at the railroads. I'll talk about railroads a little bit later. Look at the railroads that you have already built and then define the business problem. We took two business problems. I said banking is digital. The first business problem is what is it that marketing we can directly contribute to business. That's the first business problem. The second business problem is, can we use the same marketing technology investments that we do to help people on the ground, which is our branch relationship managers, which is our home banking relationship managers. How do we actually help them have a better conversation with customer? That's what I call it as employee salience. If you have this, then you can solve typical marketers problem. But everybody will talk about all this stuff. And I saw the agenda. I think most of the agenda points are getting covered today. And we have lots of people coming and talking about all this stuff. But all this stuff has to actually solve the business problem. So start here and then go there. And I'll take 2 examples of personalization scale of AI to velocity as an example to say how AI can help in solving some of these problems. This is a typical customer journey for a banking customer. As a marketer like us sitting here in Bombay, we have 50 products to sell. We have 15 personas. We have 9 channels in which people are interacting. And how many of you will buy a credit card just by a whim? Here. Nobody will buy. You have lots of questions. Maybe you talk to your friends. Maybe you talk to somebody who has a card. Maybe you compare. At least 200 questions we need to answer. So imagine if I multiply this for all the products that we have, I'm talking about almost 1.35 million pieces of content. We take 860 odd man-hours. Now we always talk about A/B testing. Because we don't know when content that we do is going to be good. If you do that, it talks about what? 8,600 man-hours. 13 million pieces of content. Is it possible? Humanly possible to generate this? So always on agentic network that we talk about, looks at this. Look at the customer content, collect data real time, let AI interpret the metadata, let AI give you the content at n is equal to 1, use the same data for both direct reach to the customers and then to your direct communication. Then you will get customer delight and loyalty. And I'll give you 2 examples of how you have done it. Here is the first example. We have multiple offers on credit cards. We understand as a bank that you use cards, you use your account, you use your UPI, everything comes back to the bank in terms of where you are. We understand that we do a lot more, and you are actually very interested in fashion purchase. You are very interested in travel and all this stuff. And I'm using typical examples of what we see in the card. This we have done for personal loan, we have done for other products also. You put all the data together, and that is what I meant by railroad. This takes a hell of a lot of effort and time. Once you build the railroads, you are able to identify for this particular customer, these are the 3 things which is going to be relevant at this point of time based on what the customer has done in the past. And this is not AI alone, this is a huge amount of data engineering and collecting the data together to get this understanding using analytics. Now that we have done directly, we revamped our smart buy. And I would want all of you to go ahead and look at HDFC Bank Smart Buy where HDFC Bank customer log in. In your For You sections, you will see extremely relevant based on who you are. That's the power of artificial intelligence and data putting together to get to the solution. These are direct outreach. Now, how do I actually help it for my other thing, which is called the employee savings? How do I take this to my branch relationship managers? Put a simple QR code solution. We ask the customer to scan the QR code and log in, and whatever the customer sees, we are able to identify who's the relationship manager behind based on the QR. And we send the same information to the relationship manager by way of an email or an SMS or a WhatsApp, saying this is what Ravi is seeing, this is Ravi's offer. Now have a conversation on the same basis. So here we are using the same effort to go ahead and directly consume, as well as go ahead and help the employees on the ground to have a conversation which is holistic, which actually uses the entire data knowledge that the bank has about the customer and brings it in front of the employee. Now, where do you see going forward? What is the next step? The next step is all about Gen AI. Instead of actually putting all this data in the way in which I showed you, can I actually make it into simple English? And can I actually heavily personalize? We are not really there, we are not there, but we will get there, and this is what will go to the R&D. This is what exactly will go because we know the customer as a diner's card, and this is the kind of savings they will be able to do because of the fact they will use a smart buy voucher. And this is the future that we are seeing. So, as I said, railroads, it is important to understand for all these things to happen, what is the groundwork that you need to do. And if any of you have any inhibition saying that it will all happen in 1 year, 2 years, in which say the next 2 years is what you will see, This itself took 3 years for us to get here. So it's a heavy engineering on data side and analytics side, and that's where all of you should focus on today. If you have a railroad, please look at how do you create capability within the organization. If you do not have the railroads, please look at how to build those railroads. And when you talk about creating capability within the organization, it is all about setting the stage for creating an inspiring vision. And we set that by saying that we will get 25% of the business done direct without any human intervention in the bank. Today, we have crossed 25% in many products. There's no human intervention. A team of 300 people do business of what 210,000 employees do. That's a kind of work that we have done to get, because we started out with a vision saying reach there and all things ground up to get to there. Once you set the stage, what is important is to create space for experiments. And technology keeps changing, as Big was saying. From the time I joined the bank to the time I am now here, 8 years, the number of turns of technology change in MarTech I've seen is phenomenal. So you should be in a position to create a lot of space for experiments and allow people to fail. And the fail path is all what we hear, but are you actually practicing that in your organization? If you're not the leader and if you're a support employee here now, are you pushing yourself to say, hey, I want the freedom to experiment more? But define guardrails. What is preventable and what is intelligent failure? We should be able to very clearly do it. And the last one is celebrate the failures and celebrate the successes also, and speak up in terms of what is good for the consumers. I deliberately put celebrate failures. I not celebrate success, because everybody says celebrate success. But if you want to really leverage MarTech, really leverage AI, the most important thing that all of us have to do to build always on brand engines, brand experience engines, to celebrate failures. The more number of failures we all have in creating this, the more I'm confident that I will reach the space that we want to do. So let's go ahead in building and transforming our brands together. Thank you. You become that.
Thank you very much for that. Was rather interactive. Thanks a lot. Well, please encourage you, request you rather to come and join me in the center stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe a bigger, better, bolder round of applause is in order to present a small token of appreciation on our behalf for your time and your insights. Joining us on stage is the founder and CEO of Notify Visitors. Please put your hands together for Mr. Siddharth Gupta. And I see a lot of cameras up in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget to use the hashtag MarTech AI Conference. Thank you very much. This brings us to the first panel discussion of the day. This particular table is my favorite table. I have to tell you that. Thank you for all the energy that you're pumping into the point. All right, putting the new presentation with this. Joining us on stage are the panelists to talk about the new personalization playbook from segments to truly contextual journeys. First and foremost, our first panelist spearheads marketing tech for Airtel, one of India's largest telecoms, and knows how to drive personalization for millions of users. Joining me as I welcome the product head, MarTech and Apple platforms at Airtel Digital. Please put your hands together for Bharti Singhal. The procedure to grab is super simple. All we need to do is bring both of our arms together. How about you put the try, right? Just like that. Super simple, right? Let's keep them coming. Our next panelist, currently in his role, lead both for Policy Bazaar, India's leading fintech insurance marketplace, bringing deep insight on TV customer journeys in fintech. Join me as I welcome SVP and head of growth at policybazaar.com. Please put your hands together for Mr. Shubham Chaudhary. Very kind of you to stay back and wait for me to finish the introduction. Thank you, sir. Up next, Our next panelist has the unique challenge of personalizing experiences across hospitality. Join me as I welcome the head of digital marketing at ITC Limited, Mr. Vikram Singh. At any given point, if you find either of your hands occupied, you can quickly use the other one to bang on the table and congratulate the panelists for joining us. Our next panelist is driving digital strategy at Apollo 24/7, the healthcare platform using MarTech to personalize patient customer engagement. Join me as I welcome the lead digital marketing CRM and MarTech at Apollo 24/7, Mr. Shashank Gupta. Next panelist is the Chief Business Strategy and Data Alliances at Sacramento in the data-driven marketing solutions. He forges data alliances, so he literally builds the data partnerships that make personalization smarter. Join me as I welcome Mr. Fabrice Allen. Welcome. Our next panelist brings the perspective of life insurance, where personalization can deeply enhance customer trust and engagement through tailored communications. Join me as I welcome the Vice President, Head of Customer Insights at Axis Max Life Insurance, Richard Jen. My sincerest apologies. Time to conclude the panel, ladies and gentlemen. The value lives and unfortunately, I have the pleasure of informing all of you that the timer, Mr. Hilal, is right over here, so we kindly be mindful.
Wonderful. Thank you. May I have a bigger round of applause? So Mr. Ravi Sangulam comes again to them because he wants a bigger round of applause for the panel. Please, bigger round of applause, please. Thank you. As I said, MarTech has always been a very technical subject. So if you feel bored during the session, please raise your hand and I'll tell you a joke perhaps. Or if you're feeling even bored, you can raise your hand and ask probably a funny question. We'll surely answer that. I have an amazing panel. Most of you have met earlier, Vikram Hai, Shubham Hai. We have interacted with them in the past. We try to make it as interesting as possible, conversational style. If you have any questions in between, you can just raise your hand. It's not that we're finishing the conversation.